How far can I walk in one day? Let's find out. Welcome back to Linda's Legacy all around the coast. I'm Robert, and in 2027 I'll be embarking on a walking trip all around the coast of Great Britain. In the meantime, I'm taking daily trips all around where I live and eventually going a little bit further. Today we're going to see how far I could get when I started off early one morning in Brancaster, just to see how far I could go in one day. I'm also later going to be discussing how we can deal with our daily grief and what happens when grief strikes. So let's see what happened first of all on Sunday morning in Brancaster on another lovely day when I started out walking to see how far I can get. Good morning, it's a Sunday, it's just after 9 o'clock and I'm in Brancaster, just walking past the church. And today I'm going to see how far I can get walking in one day without going over the top, with stopping for breaks. So I need to get some kind of ballpark of how far I can go each day. And then as time goes, I will see if I can improve on that and come up with a sort of a average daily mileage that I would like to accomplish on the big walk. And I know there'll be an awful lot of changes and different plans and everything when it actually happens, because I'll be looking at places, meeting people and everything, but I've got to have some kind of ballpark figure because at the moment I have no idea. Anyway, we're walking down towards the beach, and we won't actually get to the beach just at this point at Brancaster because I'll be taking the Boardwalk, which is my normal daily commute, where if you are a regular viewer of the channel, you may have seen the daily short videos, which nearly always is me walking along the Boardwalk. It's still a wonderful day today. There's not meant to be any rain, not until tomorrow, and it's not really windy, which is great news because the wind direction is coming off the sea, a bit chilly. So hopefully I can get quite far today and have a nice time, and there will be obviously coffees involved. I've got water with me. There will be hopefully some things to eat, and if I'm really lucky there might be an ice cream. So let's see how we get on. And here we are at the start of the Brancaster Boardwalk. Let's go. This boardwalk is now really good quality. It has something like a 75-year lifespan, and it's really nice to walk on. It's got anti-slip on it and it's wonderful. Until a couple of years ago, this was the boardwalk, and there are little bits remaining here and there. You've basically got two tracks of possible railway sleepers or something similar, and I'm not quite sure when they were put up, but they've all rotted away, and it got so dangerous that the whole path was closed for, well, I think a couple of years or so in total. And yeah, so imagine walking along there with your dogs and a family, and you see some coming the other way, and the only option was to dive off into the verge there and wait while someone went past. This is so much nicer. What a real bonus to the added to the area. and the first glimpse of the harbour. And the first sighting of Brancaster Staithe Harbour. Obviously the tide's out at the moment, so there's not much happening yet. So very much a working harbour. Maybe not that boat anymore, but yeah, there's actual fishing goes on and landed here, as well as all the leisure craft. As we carry on through Brancaster Staithe towards Burnham Deepdale, this is the one of the, if not the best pub, restaurant, hotel on the coast. It's the White Horse. Highly recommended. Got their outdoor marshside area there, and yeah, incredibly good food. We're at the Burnham Deepdale Inn now, and there's a houseboat parked up that way. And here we are now. You would not believe, I hope you understand the amount of self-control here of me today to head towards Burnham Overy Staithe and not to go right to the Nest Cafe and have a coffee. No, that'll have to wait for another day. Let's move on. Come along. That's it, this way. Come on, keep going, keep going. Well, I seem to be at the end of the world here, in the middle of nowhere, because in every direction there is just amazing, wonderful countryside, nature, and very few signs of, okay, there's a house, but very few signs of people in every direction, which at the moment is ideal. Quite a few geese I can hear. I don't know if that's coming out over the microphone. Anyway, wandering on, next stop, Burnham Overy Staithe. Bit of a pause before we actually get to Burnham Overy Staithe, because behind you can possibly see the sea with the beach. Oh, no, not that way at all, because behind is a walk to the beach, if you're that way inclined. Not today. All the way behind us is Scolt Head Island, and we'll have a day out there pretty soon. Burnham Overy Staithe in the distance. It looks a lot nearer than it is because the path goes right back on itself in a minute, but let's carry on. So making progress, that's the way we've come. Where I last spoke to you, that would be the other way through from Burnham Norton, and we've come all the way around the actual coast, and there's a windmill. How cool is that? Anyway, I've sustained an injury. My ankle is really hurting, so I need to get to Burnham Overy Staithe and have a sit down. And a little closer to the windmill. Now that Burnham Norton windmill is owned by the National Trust, and there was a bit of a controversy last year when they took the rear tail off it. As you can see, it's got no way of changing direction at the moment, but hopefully they'll replace it at one day and restore it. That would be really nice. Well, I've just about made it to Burnham Overy Staithe now. I'm sitting on a bench at the end of the, can't really see it, never mind, a bench at the end of the harbour, where I used to sit with Linda many times after we walked here. And obviously the tide's out today, but it's just such a scenic place. It's wonderful here. There's a duck sitting there fighting the tide. And I'll just having a little sit down for a moment before I head slightly further on and see if there's coffee for sale. Just noticed the welcome ferry is parked there, parked, moored, sat on the mud, whatever. That's how you get across to Scolt Head Island from this end of the island. And over on the Hard is obviously low tide, so the cars can park. That was completely underwater the other night. Really need to keep a check on tides in this area. And I'm in luck. The coffee cart's here. Excellent. And here we are in the car park of the Hard. Quite quiet this morning. Obviously, look at the sky. It's just absolutely beautiful here today. And that's the way I will be heading, all the way across towards Holkham. But in the meantime, there's something else to enjoy. Ooh, apple and date and a latte, yum. Let me know when you can see the sea. I think it's been worth the walk so far. Let's carry on. And we've made it to the beach. And isn't that just stunning? It really is an amazing place. Little bit breezy, but there we go. Okay, about another 2 miles to Holkham. Let's get going. I'm walking now towards Holkham, and this is one of the biggest beach expanses in this whole area, and it's absolutely huge. And there's not many people today because it's actually blown a gale, although it's really, really nice. It's quite warm still, regardless of the northeasterly wind. As I'm just walking on this little bit here, try not to get dizzy. As I'm walking this way, it actually occurred to me I'm getting my first taste of how the round the coast walk is going to be. Windswept, a bit chilly and in the wind, but it's just amazing out here. The waves, seabirds, me, not too many people at the moment. That will vary throughout the seasons, I know, but it's really given me a feel for how it's going to be, and reminding me of all sorts of things I need to pack, such as sunglasses, a hat, more food. But yeah, it's so exciting. Looking forward to walking the coast. I really can't wait. But I know I've got to train a lot more. I've got a bit of a tendon issue going on my left ankle, which is causing me a little bit of a grief today. Plodding on regardless. And I'm sure there'll be a lot more of that as time goes on. But got to train, got to work through it, and I'll get there. I'm just going to show you again how open it is here. I mean, look at this. It's just stunning. See the waves coming in, and this is why Linda loved it so much out here. Nature, quiet, waves. What could be better? I've made it off the beach. I'm now walking towards hopefully some food and a little rest stop. And I'm looking out for the lookout. There we go, the lookout. Food and a toilet. very nice stop there at the lookout, part of the Holkham estate. And now I'm walking towards Wells Next to Sea. Now we're taking the route through the woods. And this is a route I've taken many times in the past with Linda. We quite often go from Holkham to Wells or the other way. And the good thing is that there's a cafe stop at each end, which is always useful. But it makes a nice change now going through the woods on a very nice solid pathway. The sand was good, but I don't want to do too much of that today. It's been quite nice so far, good weather, mostly good underfoot conditions, and done 23,000 steps so far, something around about, 10-11 miles, so pretty good going so far. So I think I'll definitely aim to get to Wells Next to Sea, because otherwise I've got to go back. I was wondering about going a little further, but I'm not quite sure if I'll have time today, but we'll see what happens when we get there. At the end of this path now, we come out at the, what's it called, the Beach Cafe, another part of the Holkham estate, and the big main car park for heading on to Wells Beach. So we'll have a look when we get there. And I've made it to Wells, well, to the lifeboat house at the end of the walk anyway. And if we have a look out this way, the town of Wells is all the way down there, another mile or so. And not that long ago, you used to be able to catch a little road train down there, but that's gone. So they do have a bus occasionally, but obviously I'm going to walk. Let's just go and have a quick look at the beach. Not a huge amount of beach that way, the tide's obviously coming in. But if we have a look back this way, there's quite a bit more, and the famous beach huts in the distance. Right, next mile down into Wells town. Well, I'm now at the other side of Wells, pretty busy there at the moment, but very scenic. And I've decided to press on towards Stiffkey, which should give me enough time to get there before the last bus of the day. So let's hope for the best. I'm about halfway to Stiffkey now, just having a little sit down and a drink. And I have to say my feet hurt a little bit. I'll keep going, it's all good. And it's still really, really wonderful out here. Look at the blue sky, a little bit of a breeze now. I haven't seen anybody for about, I don't know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. All good. Anyway, onwards to Stiffkey. I know it doesn't quite come out on the camera here, but the scenery is just so amazing. There's a load of white egrets flying around over that way. I can see the sea, I can see the waves in the distance, and then the actual countryside I'm walking through is just so wonderful. It's such a lovely day and I'm so lucky. And it's so tinged with sadness that Linda's not here to appreciate this today, not physically with me. I know Linda's with me, I carry her in my heart all the time, every day. But it's not the same, is it? Stiffkey, where we're heading to, had a special place in Linda's heart, and it's somewhere that we visited on a lot of occasions. We've done this walk several times, although it's quite a long trip actually, and I mean we've done the Wells to Stiffkey, not the whole thing. But it's such a good thing to do. And on a day like today, when the weather is absolutely wonderful, it really is wonderful and amazing out here, and it makes me miss Linda so much. Carrying on. Well, I seem to have gone all the way past the majority of Stiffkey, and I'm coming right up at the very last path in. And I think that's going to be it for today. I think I shall head the bus back to Wells and possibly treat myself to some chips. See how it goes. Well, I've made it to Stiffkey, 39,655 steps since I started this morning, and yeah, quite a lot of hours. All good. Right, let's hope I haven't missed this bus and I can get some chips out of Wells. Cheesy chips from the bucket list on Wells Harbour, and they were yum. And a mid-choc chip ice cream from Wells Gelato, really good. I've walked about 15 miles today. My feet hurt, but it's been so worth it. It's been a beautiful day and I've made the most of it. As it turned out, it was nearer 20 miles, but there you go. A great day out. Now, one thing that you didn't see there was that as I was heading towards Stiffkey, it's really not a popular path at all, it seems. I didn't see anybody for most of the trip. I think there was a couple of joggers and that was it the whole way from Wells to Stiffkey. Anyway, heading along, minding my own business, enjoying the scenery, watching the birds, listening to the sounds, I came around a corner and I was totally overcome with what I call a grief strike. Unbelievably, a fallen tree laying across on the grass, and I saw that, and immediately I was taken back a couple of years when previous times as well, when I walked that way with Linda and would always stop and rest on that tree trunk. And it just all of a sudden it hit me that it was just me, no Linda, and I was on a trip that I hadn't done before, and it really got to me. And I just sat and wept on the tree trunk. And you don't want to see that. You don't want to see me bloody all over your TV and your phones. So a little bit moved on from there. But it's amazing how these things just suddenly get you out of nowhere. I'd forgotten that tree trunk existed. I know we'd sat there, and when I got back, all the memories came back. There was a little sort of bird watching hide just about as you get into the village as well. And almost had the same thing occur there. It's just memories of sitting there and chatting and having a lovely time after a long walk. It brought it all back. And it strikes me that these things, they come out of nowhere and you never know what to do. And all I can say is if this happens, you just have to go with it. You just have to sit and take the emotion, accept the tears, go with them. And I don't know what the word is. It's not enjoy, but you just receive everything and you take it and you go with it. And afterwards, for some really strange reason, you sort of feel better. And that's just really weird. But I certainly felt better. I accomplished a long walk. I found out that 20 miles in a day is a little bit far to aim at every day. I think we'll aim for more like 5 to 10 when I get going. But also I learned a lot from that couple of grief strikes on that walk, just to go with it, accept, and just be still in nature is a wonderful thing if you have the opportunity, and just try and take all the memories that come and just go with it. Nature is amazing, and it certainly helps me to come to terms with what's going on, and just as a place to go to relax and to just be all the time. It's amazing. Chatting with some folks the other day who have also gone through a loss of a loved one, it seems that a lot of practices such as being in nature, meditation, mindfulness, yoga, they're a big help. Because to be fair, there's not a lot of help in the medical world. If you lose somebody, if you're lucky, you might get an appointment to have a chat with someone after about a couple of months. If you're really lucky, they might see you again in about 6 weeks. But it's not really, unless you start paying for counselling, there's not really a lot about it. So the best thing I've found is to get together with like-minded folks and just chat about your experiences. And it makes a world of difference to have people that know what you're going through and can appreciate how you're feeling, and just to share. And it also helps that when I can talk to people as well in a similar situation, that I feel like I'm helping them in some way. And of course, any help I can give is just so amazing. There's got to be some good things come out of such terrible times, and helping people is the way I see as one of those good things. Which leads me on, don't forget, if you go into the links in this video or my bio on YouTube or any of the other social media outlets that I'm on, which is basically all of them, you can find the links to Just Giving, and you can support the charities that I'm supporting, the East Anglia's Children's Hospice and Tapping House Hospice. Amazing charities, and they would really appreciate if you can give them anything at this point. Thank you. Oh, tell you what, while you're also online, don't forget, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that happy stuff will be really appreciated. So thank you so much in advance. Whew, well, I've reached the top of the hill, so I think it's about time to turn around and go back home now. I hope you've enjoyed watching this week. If you've suffered the loss of a loved one, my heart goes out to you. Do take care of yourself. Remember, it is a beautiful day. Make the most of it. We're so lucky to be here. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you soon.